Welcome back to Sports Dump, Lewis County's only sports podcast, sponsored by Elam's Home Furnishings and Mattress Gallery, Global Septic, and AmeriCool Heating and Cooling. I'm Aaron Van Tile, joined tonight by our Chronicle sports guys Dylan Wilhelm and new guy Zach Martin. Shall we start there, Zach?
Might as well.
All right, you're new in town, fresh faced, ready to get out there and cover some more basketball.
Absolutely.
All right, and you're from the Midwest? Is Iowa the Midwest?
Yes, Iowa's the heart of the Midwest.
It's the middle of the Midwest.
You can't get more Midwest than Iowa.
All right. Do you feel like Iowa has prepared you for Washington in the least, or maybe not at all?
I know that I won't be getting as much snow in Washington as I did in Iowa, so I'm more than happy about that. But Iowa's prepared me enough for Washington.
All right. And how have things been in your first? Well, you started what, Friday? Thursday. First 4 days on the job.
Yeah.
The math probably isn't adding up here.
No, it's 4 days. 4 days of work.
How was your first weekend?
It's been good. It was good. Couldn't have asked for 3 better basketball games to cover out here. Coaches have been very welcoming.
Mm-hmm.
They've answered all my questions so far. Some of them probably stupid, some of them not so stupid.
I'm sure they've heard worse.
It's been a good first 4 days. Have enjoyed seeing the new talent around here, and I'm looking forward to seeing more talent down at the Yakima Valley Sun Dome this week, and won't be long till we're in spring season. So I'm looking forward to providing this area, these athletes, these coaches, fantastic coverage.
All right, great. Yeah, your first round of games were good. I enjoyed them. You did nice work. And Dylan, how are you?
I'm doing well.
Any big announcements you want to make?
I got engaged this
Congratulations.
week.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought there was a different announcement you were going to make. But
about 10 minutes before recording, I have officially been promoted to the sports editor role here at the Chronicle. So
we'll
just continue to carry on the legacy of Josh, Alec, Eric, yourself. Whoever else, I don't know. Those are the only 4 previous editors I know.
When you call your parents tonight, which of those 2 announcements are you gonna lead with? On the front page of Dylan's life, what goes above the fold?
Probably the engagement, personally, but
we'll see.
There's room for 2 stories on A1.
Absolutely.
There's room for both.
Dueling lead art. I can't wait to see it. All right, so the regional round of the state tournament, or the opening round, whatever the hell we're calling it, is over, and we have to say goodbye to a few teams. First up, WFS boys, who did they lose to? Sammamish?
70-63 to Sammamish.
All right, do you want to say something nice about them?
They did better than I thought they were going to do.
Wow.
Up in Sammamish. That came out really mean, and I didn't intend it to, but they went up north. They battled hard, but at the end of the day, they just couldn't slow down. Sammamish had one kid hit 6 threes, and when somebody's shooting like that in a game, just tough to keep up. But a good season for them. Obviously able to sneak into regionals or states, whatever we want to call it. But yeah.
All right. What did they finish with for a record? What were they like? I
want to say 16-7, 17-6 ish.
All right.
I mean, league champs, nothing to scoff at.
Yeah, league champs. They had the league
MVP.
Was Chris White coach of the year in the EFCO? Maybe. We haven't got those yet.
The EFCO stuff.
All right. Let's see. Next team.
Assume.
The Oakville boys made it to the round of 20 in the 1B tournament. It's a thing that for some reason is happening. What's their deal?
They lost by 20 to Wilbur-Crest and Keller on last Tuesday.
Okay.
So 6 days ago. And if they had won that, they would have had to win another one just to get to Spokane, But kind of like WF West, the league champs, I want to say they either went unbeaten in league or only lost a game, I believe. Certainly none to scoff at, and no shame in falling a game short, or in their case, 2 short of.
Wilbur-Crest went on to lose by a single point to Muckleshoot Tribal in Auburn on Saturday. So that's how that went.
Yeah.
Good season for Oakville. And then the PL girls, their run came to an end as well.
Yeah.
You hate to see it. They had their box score of making it to the state playoffs was just a thing of beauty. 27-21, they beat Willapa Valley to get there. That was awesome. Maybe a surprise run for them making it to state.
I would say so too. Carly Phelps really came on. She won league MVP.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, they kind of they did score more points in their regional round than they did in the third place game. But in terms of the final score, we don't have to worry about that.
Good.
But yeah, I'd certainly say the future is bright for them.
Okay.
I didn't really expect them to make it past districts, and to see them, again, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but one game shy of Spokane, certainly nothing to scoff at, especially for a PL team that I don't think a lot of people expected to make it that far.
Yeah. All right. And then the biggest surprise of the weekend for you guys, we've got 2 entries here. The first up, Napvine Girls lost as the top seed. These games were both in Chehalis, weren't they?
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah. Napvine Girls, how'd that go down?
That was a very difficult game for Napvine to get into any kind of rhythm whatsoever. They were feeding their posts, Hayden Kaut, their other post, blank our name, Kiara O'Neill, excuse me.
Yeah.
On a quick 8-0 run in the first quarter and it looked like they were going to just keep doing that all game long and seize control of it. They kind of went away from it. Mapton clamped up. They clamped up down low defensively, but what really killed Napvine was 25 turnovers. You're not going to win many games doing that. 1 of 14 from 3. And then 7 of 23 from the free throw line. And then just in the third quarter alone, where most of the fouls happen for both teams in that game, neither team could get into a rhythm. But the Tigers went 3 of 14 from the free throw line in the third quarter alone. So they could not get into any sort of rhythm. Couldn't hit their threes. Could not hit their free throws. O'Neill ended up leading them with 15 points, 15 rebounds. Kaut was pretty much shut down from the first quarter on. Could not get into any sort of rhythm. It just was not. It was not the best time for Napvine to play their worst game.
Yeah.
Especially as a team pegged as the number 1 seed in the Class 2B bracket. You know, most people looked at that team and like they have the ingredients to make a deep run in Spokane. And now they've got to go through a much more difficult route in terms of playing. And if they lose on Wednesday, they're done. Number 1 seed out like that. But
yeah,
I have a feeling that they should bounce back. They're too talented not to. Mapton was really good, quick, and they just made clutch threes when they needed to, and that's kind of what doomed the Tigers.
The 38 points Napvine scored in that 48-38 loss was also their lowest scoring output of the season. Interesting footnote in that one, but I'm sure they'll be fine. It's Napvine; they're going to be all right. Yeah. Let's see. We're going to break down what happened over the weekend, classification by classification. But first, this podcast is brought to you by Global Septic, providing septic service and portable sanitation for Thurston, Lewis, Mason, Cowlitz, and Grace Harbor counties. Septic pumping, inspection, and riser installation, commercial septic pumping, grease trap services, porta potty rentals, and portable sink rentals to go with those porta potties. Visit globalseptic.com. That's GOEBEL septic.com, or give them a call at 360-736-2167. Which classification do you guys want to start with? We've already hit the 2A girls. We might as well. Let's just continue with the 2B girls.
Okay.
What did Adna do?
Adna went on the road and won. They beat. I have the.
Speaking of
they beat Okanagan out in Wenatchee, 56-44. We've kind of joked about how Adna kind of almost Georgia-like kind of lost at the wrong time and probably got a little underseeded. Mm-hmm. And they certainly looked like the better team out there. They're actually going to stay out there. They're not making the trip back just to go all the way back. I thought that was a cool little wrinkle that they're doing.
Where were they? They were playing in Wenatchee?
They were out in Wenatchee, yeah. So
Really?
they just kept going.
Spending a week over there.
Yeah.
Must be nice.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, Carson Freeman scored 33. So when
Pretty
she's
good.
on, she shot 65% from the floor. When she's going, they're tough to beat. I don't think anyone else scored more than 8, but no one else really needed to. You have Hallam and guard that can get going.
Yeah.
They'll probably need them at state. They'll probably need that trio to really go off. But yeah, they're through to the quarters. And if Rainier wins in there,
we'll get to the bracket in a bit.
All right.
How did Adna, by the way, is now number 1 on the RPI board. Number 2 is Napavine, or number 3 is Napavine. Rainier's number 2. So,
and Rainier
solid.
beat Adna 2 out of 3 times this year.
Yeah,
wonderful.
What? How did Rainier do? What's Rainier's situation?
Rainier also went east, but they lost. They lost 57-32 to Colfax. I didn't hear much about this game from Brandon, but given the score line, I'm assuming it didn't go very well from start to finish. Colfax, I know, has is it Bryn McGahee? I'm not sure how to pronounce her last
Bryn
name.
McGahee. They beat Rainier 57-32, and this paragraph does not tell me how many points Bryn McGahee scored, which is what I wanted to know. Here we go. We might have it here. Hold on. Nope, not on this one either. Oh, she had 6 points. Well, that's not as impressive as I was hoping for. Okay, well, anyway, Colfax apparently is more than just the one girl who's really good. What else happened in the 2Bs? Anything notable? Tudor Lake
is through. They beat up on LeConner. Didn't even allow 20 points. We'll get into the bracket talk. That's the girls. On the boys' side, Napavine handled St. George's as the 2. They just do what they've done all year. They'll just wear you down and just slowly pull away throughout the game.
And that was Carson Denault was 23-10.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's got to be a bad sign for the rest of the state if Napavine is blowing out a regional opponent with Denault leading the team in scoring and not.
I think
the best scorer in the
third
state
too. I think Jaron Prather had 19, and they still won by almost 30 or more than 30. So
maybe Rex is just playing 4D chess and being like, we got to get some tape out there of these other guys.
Yeah. Adna won an overtime thriller. Zach was there for that one.
Yeah, that was a fantastic game. Couldn't have asked for a better game between two teams that are trying to get to Spokane. Braden Salmi, one heck of a player. Jens Nielsen really stepped up for Adna at crucial moments on both sides of the floor. Ended up with 19 points, I think 6 or 7 rebounds. It was a game that Adna it looked like just had full control for multiple stretches, especially in the fourth quarter. And then it was 3-point shooting by LeConner and also offensive rebounding to lead to some second chance 3-pointers that kept them in it. They had 2. They had one to cut to 3, and then in transition, they one of their top players, I can't remember who it was, he just pulled up and drained it. And then Adna stepped up defensively in the 4-minute overtime period. Braden Salmi hit a layup that ended up being the game winner, and then iced it with 2 free throws with under 10 seconds left. A really good basketball game. Adna looks like a team that, if things are clicking and if they're playing well defensively and they're doing a little bit better job at what's the right phrase I'm looking for? Crashing the glass. They're going to be a tough out. They're going to be a very tough out.
Yeah. That's a top 8 team if Braden Salmi's healthy all season. But
yeah, I think that's probably accurate.
Yeah.
Any other? We didn't have any other local 2B teams in it, did we?
Among the other CTPL teams, Wakai can beat Liberty from Spangle, and then in a top 8 matchup, Tula lost to Colfax.
All right. And what else? We got 1B boys. What did Mossy Rock do?
Mossy Rock lost in a top 8 to Welpin, the reigning champs.
Okay.
Lost by 11, and that was really even. That was an incredibly even game outside of the last 5 minutes of the second quarter, Whelping put up 20 in that frame, multiple second chance opportunities. They out-rebounded them by about 20. I think they had 15 offensive rebounds throughout the whole game. That really cost Mossy Rock. That was really the difference in the game.
That was at Cheney High School, and that was a 2-7 matchup. So Mossy Rock losing that game's not the end of the world. You go in and you're still in it. You're one really loss away from things falling apart there. And 1B girls, Mossy Rock won.
They did. They destroyed Evergreen Lutheran, 53-31. The Eagles, I believe they are, just never got going offensively. It was and neither really did the Vikings outside of a few stretches that kind of inflated that final number. But it was a pretty
kind of an ugly
defensive
game.
battle. Yeah,
yeah, it was defensive and at times a little ugly.
A little slugfest.
Yeah, definitely a slugfest. Absolutely.
All right, Tenino boys, 1A boys. What happened there?
They lost to Zilla.
Number 1 Zilla, right?
Number 1 Zilla. I don't remember the exact final score, but it was 25 plus.
Yeah.
I mean, they were an unbeaten team. They knew they had their hands full going in. Noah Scow was somewhat limited. I'm assuming that the Leopards kind of zeroed in on him.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're still through. I think we kind of joked about this last week too, or maybe that was off the pod, but Tenino, I'm sure they'll trade having that top 8 for sure, as opposed to having to been a 9 possibly just to be winning in. I mean, I'm sure they're thrilled to still be going. So
yeah, and if you go in and lose to the number 1 seed in your regional matchup, you go into state knowing, or you go into the next chapter of it knowing that you've played the best team in the state, and you're like, well, it's got to be easier from here on out.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's do a quick preview of the Wednesday games. Of course, the state tournament works that if you are if you're a top 8 seed and you win your regional game, you're automatically entered into the 18 double elimination portion of the tournament, which runs Thursday, Friday, Saturday in either Spokane or Yakima. However, if you are a top 8 seed and lose, or a 9 through 16 seed and win, you go and play in Wednesday's loser out round. So we have 5 teams playing in the loser out round on Wednesday. First up, WF West girls play West Valley. It's West Valley Spokane, I believe.
Yes.
The other West Valley, I think, is Yakima. It doesn't matter here.
I don't know, but
WF West versus West Valley Spokane. This is the 9 a.m. game in Yakima.
9 a.m. game in Yakima, correct.
First time covering morning basketball, Zach?
No, I've covered morning basketball before.
Okay, so
it's not very fun, but I've done it.
I've had to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, the energy is pretty weird.
It can be morning basketball games, especially state basketball games, are going to either go one of 2 ways. One team is just going to come out on fire, energized, and win by 20 plus, or it's going to be a slugfest, first to 35 wins type of deal.
Yeah.
There's no in between.
There's no early morning shootout games.
No.
All right, WF West versus West Valley. Thoughts there? What seed is West Valley?
They're a
14. Yeah, so they've come into this kind of on some upsets that they've reached this round of 12. If WF West plays their game, they should win.
Yeah.
It felt like against Archbishop Murphy in the regional round, the opening round, Archbishop Murphy just shot the heck out of the ball. They Brooke Bleachy hit 5 threes in the first quarter. They end up with 6 in the first quarter total. I think 8 in the first half. They were trading. Archbishop Murphy was playing 3s for 2s, and 3 points is more than 2 points. So they were able to hang on for a 58-55 win. Joy Cushman provided WF West with a real spark. I thought Julia Dolan played well, maybe rushed a couple shots, particularly in the fourth quarter when she was facing a double team, triple team. So I think that part of her game has got to improve if they want to reach the quarterfinal round.
Yeah.
But I think there's first time seeing them. There's definitely some talent there. They should be able to not cruise, but as long as they come out with the right energy, and don't come out sluggish, I think they'll be okay.
Okay. Kings versus Tenino. Any thoughts on this one?
The only thing I know about this one, Kings is the two-time 1A state runner-up behind Lyndon Christian. This one will be interesting. I think Tenino definitely has a good chance to win this and be able to get to a placement game. And this would only be if they were to win this and then they would play Lyndon Christian in the quarters. They could be in a position to place for just the second time in history, because this is their first time reaching state since 2007, and the highest they've placed is fourth. That's one time. That's the only time they placed. So if they can win this, if they can beat Kings, they're looking at a good spot to place for the second time in school history.
Yeah, Kings is the 9 seed. The winner will go on to play Lyndon Christian, which has a pretty storied history, at least lately. So yeah, it's it's not an awful Wednesday matchup for Tenino. Best of luck to them. I'm sure they'll be fine. Adna versus St. George's, 2B boys. St. George's coming off a big loss against Napavine, and Adna is kind of rolling after that overtime win over whoever it was.
LeConnor. Yeah. I will say, I think Adna might have a little bit of trouble. St. George's has a big named Eldon Pierce who had his way for at least in the first half against Napavine, and even in the second, he ended up being St. George's leading scorer. I think he had 16. I don't know who. I'm going to be interested to see who Salmi puts if he runs a man or even if he runs his own. If it's just going to be kind of Lane Johnson down low trying to guard him, because he has a clear size advantage going into a game against Adna, whereas Napavine, in my opinion, would have been better suited to guard him, and he was still able to get his.
They've got a big guy, and Jack Nelson kid. He's pretty big.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So Napavine was better equipped, in my opinion, than Adna is to guard someone of that height. I'm interested to see how Salmi goes about defending him, because they don't just have a guy that height that they could throw in there and say one-on-one, go for it. They're going to have to mix some things up.
All right. And that is a 5:30 game Wednesday in Spokane. The winner of that, Adna's the 10 seed, St. George's the 7. The winner goes on to play number 1 Columbia Burbank in the quarterfinals the next day. And then we've got in the 2B girls, Tudor Lake versus Rainier and Tenasket versus Napavine. Rainier, Tudor Lake, I feel like we've seen something like that.
A few times, yeah.
Rainier, I assume, handled them pretty well.
I think, yes. I think they only played one time this year, and Rainier beat them in early January. C2BL teams in Spokane, we've been kind of hinting at it. We joke about it in districts, and state's no different. We'll kind of get more into that section of the bracket later, but I think Rainier will be on the hand and bounce back.
Rainier beat them 47-42 back on January 11th.
Okay. That's a little closer than I thought. But.
So that could be. I don't know. Tudor Lake could pull an upset. You never know. Anything could happen. And then Napavine versus Tenasket.
I know Tenasket rolled through the 16 seed. Other than that, I don't really know much about him, but I think Shane will have those girls ready to go. I can't see much other than just a bounce back win to start off on a right foot, get back into the semis or quarters.
Yeah. All right. And then in the 1B boys, Mossark versus Summit Classical Christian. Do either of you know anything about Summit Classical Christian?
Do not.
Nope.
Other than
Zach, was that in your Welcome to Washington entry guide?
Unfortunately not.
I know they're the 15, so they did win 2 games to get there.
They are a school out of Bellevue. So certainly no cultural differences between Bellevue and Mossy Rock.
They beat Northport and Soap Lake.
2 powerhouses.
Right.
I like Mossy Rock's odds in this one, I guess.
I do too.
Sure.
We'll get more into the brackets in a little bit.
Who else is playing Wednesday?
The Mossy girls.
Wednesday?
Mussy
okay,
girls.
yeah.
They'll go up against Wilbercrest and Keller at 5:30.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know much about Wilbercrest and Keller, other than they were a top 8 team and they lost to number 2 Mount Vernon Christian by 12.
Okay. Before we dive directly into the brackets, this podcast brought to you by Elam's Home Furnishings and Mattress Gallery. They're locally owned, family owned, and here to stay. And their President's Day sale still going on. Save up to $900 on Serta iComfort Eco mattresses when paired with a motion perfect adjustable base. Well, that sounds comfy. Surely you guys are going to be craving one of those after sleeping in hotels this week. But visit Elam's Home Furnishings and Mattress Gallery online at elamshf.com or stop by their showroom at 1530 South Gold Street in Centralia. Bracket outlook. 2A girls, I've got it up here. WF West is the 3 seed. If they beat West Valley Spokane and continue their state journey, they will play number 4 Prosser. The bad news for them is they are on the same side of the bracket as number 1 Ellensburg, and they played them earlier this year, right?
Yeah.
Did not go well.
No, they lost by double digits, I believe. This is the bad thing about WF West girls losing to Archbishop Murphy. Is now they're forced to play. They have to play a round of 12 game now. Take this, and this is a much tougher road than had they won. As you're looking at if they win, get a bye into the quarters, and you don't see Ellensburg until hopefully a state final. And now you got to see them in a potential semi. You got to get by Prosser first. Obviously, don't know much about Prosser, but as a 4 seed, they snuck by Clarkston. 49-43 in the opening round, but still top 4 seed. That's nothing to scoff at. So yeah, this is you want to talk about a challenging road to get to a Class 2A state final. This is a daunting road. You got to take care of business against West Valley Spokane first before you even think about Ellensburg. But yeah, this was not the side of the bracket that the Bearcats wanted to be on.
Yeah, and Ellensburg is riding, like a 65-game winning streak at this point?
I think it's up above 70 now. Yeah.
It's pretty good.
I think it was 65 when they beat WF West.
Okay.
So we may be approaching we may be approaching 80 then, if that's the case.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, yeah, tough look for WF West. But yeah, you know what? They're good. They still have a very good chance of getting a spot for Saturday's games and playing for a trophy.
Yeah, it's smart. We're getting into bracket play of state basketball. On any given night, anything can happen.
Yeah. And then Tenino, the 1A boys bracket, let me pull that up, but they are on the same side of the bracket as the 2, 3, and 4 seeds, I believe.
Correct. Yeah. They'll play Kings. Tenino's playing Kings in the round of 12. They win that, they'll play the 2-time defending state champion Linden Christian.
Mm-hmm.
And then the opposite, and then the other side of that is Sultan. They're playing Freeman in a 4-13. In a 4-13 round of 12 winner, that will play Annie Wright in the quarters. So yeah, this is going to be a daunting task for Tenino to one. You got to beat the Kings, which have been runner-up the last 2 years, and just to beat them, then your reward is playing Linden Christian.
Yeah,
I mean, you can't. That is as difficult of a draw as you could ask for.
Mm-hmm.
This will not be an easy road, but you beat Kings, you are in a position to place, and if in that situation for Tenino, I think you take that any day of the week as an 8 seed, and you can end up as a top 6 finisher potentially. Yeah, you take that.
And not obviously this is kind of assuming the other side of the bracket goes chalk, but say they do go on this run of knocking off Kings and then 2 other top 4 seeds. Who's waiting for you in the championship? Assuming avoiding an upset, but once again, Zilla.
Yeah.
Okay. Tough road.
Look at the 1B boys bracket. Mossy Rock, of course, plays Summit Classical Christian at 10:30 Wednesday morning. The winner of that game moves on to play number 1 Lummi Nation. Tough draw there.
Yeah.
Also in that bracket, number 4 DeSalle and number 6 Cusick. So yeah, I don't see any reason Mossy Rock can't get by Summit Classical on Wednesday, but they will certainly have a tough matchup against Lummi on Thursday, should they get that far.
I agree.
And then the Mossy Rock girls are I'm looking for their bracket. Where is it?
They also play the number 1 seed with a win. They are the 10, and they're they are 5:30 on Wednesday against number 7 Wilburcrest and Keller. Winner gets number 1 Nia Bay.
Oh, Nia Bay's good. They're always good. Yeah, that's a tough break.
I also learned today of I believe it was 1B, the Colton Dynasty on the girls' side.
Oh yeah, they've
10
won
of 11 years.
Yeah, they were so good. Yeah, I covered a couple games they were in, and yeah, they were just like,
my goodness.
They had good players, but you didn't watch them and think like, oh my god, that's the best player on the court. They're just like, they were all pretty good all the time.
I think I saw they had 10 state championship teams in 11 years. Those 10 teams combined for 8 losses.
Yeah.
And the one year they didn't win, they got 3rd.
Yeah.
Just
a huge disappointment all around.
Right.
Fired the coach. All right. What, let's see. 2B girls bracket. Should we take a look at this bad boy?
Yeah. So this one's
local heavy.
Probably not fun, but I think it's fun.
All right. So the Wednesday games, we've got Cle Elum Rosslyn versus Okanagan. Davenport versus Warden. That is one half of the bracket. The winner of those games go on to play Colfax and Mabton. The other half of the bracket, Tudor Lake versus Rainier. The winner plays Adna. And then Tenasket and Napavine. The winner plays Brewster. Hasn't Napavine played Brewster already?
Yes.
Okay.
I beat him earlier this year, I believe.
So we are setting things up where we have a very good, a strong chance anyway, of an all C2BL semifinal matchup. Not all C2BL semifinals, but a C2BL versus C2BL semifinal matchup at 5:30 Friday night. I like the sound of that.
That sounds fun to me, yeah.
Yeah, so we could be looking at a Napavine Adna, maybe a Napavine Rainier, maybe a Napavine Tudor Lake even. Things could happen.
Either way, it'll be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's pretty interesting. And then, Colfax, are they the dark horse? What are they?
I'm excited to see Colfax just because of
be pretty
McGahee. But Mabton on that top half is interesting because I think they have upset Warden earlier this season.
Yeah, they beat Warden in the would have been the district title game, right?
Yeah. So
how is Mabton?
Probably the reason Warden isn't the one.
Is number 11 in the RPI rankings. They're 18-6.
Yeah.
19-6 this season. They've lost to Warden once. They've lost to Rainier once.
They lost to Napavine.
Mm-hmm.
They had a 3-game losing streak where they lost to Rainier, Napavine, and Brewster, and then Kashmir. What a great work by the athletic director scheduling just the powerhouses.
Just prepared them for late February basketball.
Well, apparently the morning before they played Napa, or the day before they played Napavine,
they played played Rainier, yeah.
Yeah. They were
Shoots.
Yeah, Shoots was telling me that they stayed the night in a classroom at Napavine, in a cold classroom until 2 a.m. Or they were up till 2 a.m. So there was a situation where they're probably just looking to get home.
Yeah.
Sleeping in a classroom. So yeah, it's a much different circumstance now, but they played very well, obviously, in order to beat the number 1 seed in the 2B bracket. So they are going to be a difficult out for anyone on the top half of that bracket. Yeah,
so their record is a little bit misleading. You know, they went Friday, they played the 2 road games in Lewis County, South Thurston County, whatever you look at it, where they lost to Rainier and Napavine. Double-digit losses both times. Then they go December 28th and 29th, Sundome shootout. They lose to Brewster by 5, 85-80, which sounds like an awesome game.
Sundome shootout.
Yeah, and then they lose to Kashmir the next day by 5. So those are those are quality losses.
Good losses. The CFP committee would love it.
Haven't lost a game since then. They're undefeated in 2024. So Mapton, maybe, seating committee, maybe didn't put that personal touch in like they should have. I don't know. They don't look like the pushovers a number 8 seed would have you believe they are, or, a number 11 RPI team would have you believe they are.
Big proponents of the RPI rankings here on Sports.
We do love I love the RPI rankings.
We gotta do some digging. Did Brewster have to stay in a classroom when they did the doubleheader earlier this season?
Where is Brewster? Brewster's the 8 seed. They're 18-7.
They're the 7. Yeah.
Interesting.
Mapton 8. I remember there was some stirrings at that's a weird word. There was some talk at the Mapton Napavine game. I think it was just a dad. Honestly, I was small talking with, and he said Tenasket was pretty upset that they were the 9 because they felt they should have been the 8 above Mapton.
Yeah.
And they both kind of had a case. Mapton obviously won their matchup, and then Tenasket won by 64. Yeah. I don't know.
Tenasket did beat Friday Harbor 77-13. I mean,
and now they get
calm
Napavine,
down.
so
just take it
kinda
easy,
works out.
guys. Yeah. All right. Yeah, that should be fun. Let me see if I can find my bracket again. And
for
yeah,
the
that's
2B boys now.
Yeah, let's look at the 2B boys. Where's my damn bracket? There it is. So our Wednesday matchups in this one, Tenasket versus Tenasket again. Here we go. Tenasket versus Tudor Lake. That's a 14 versus a 6. And Zach Swanson is coming off of, what did he have the last one? He had 49 a couple games ago.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he had in the last game.
We didn't talk about that on the last episode. How he scored 49 in a district tournament game and took a picture like Wilt Chamberlain.
How many points do you need to score to take a picture with a whiteboard with the...
It's not even a tournament record. The tournament record is 51, and it's held by 2 people who are currently coaching. Shane Schutz and Chris Phelps, the PL boys coach.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Both scored 51 in district tournament games years and years ago.
That's getting buckets.
Not the same game.
But still.
But, yeah, still pretty good.
That's impressive.
But, yeah, Zach Swanson, was it a bit? I don't know. It's hilarious.
It was funny. I don't know what it was, but it was
the whole
awesome.
reason Wilt took
I'm
the
all for
picture
it.
with the sign was because there was no digital record of it. There's no film. There's
Release
no
the
nothing.
tapes. Totally random side note. Every historical video that gets posted, it's like a running bit now. Like it'll be like an MLB video of Babe Ruth, and they're like, "So we have this, but the NBA doesn't have the Wilt tape."
The Wilt.
I think that's
Wilt
a super funny running bit.
The Wilt tape comes out, it's going to be like him dunking on a fat guy smoking a cigarette.
Averaged 62 and 25 that year.
Yeah.
But
All
anyway,
right. So yeah, we've got Tenasket Tudor Lake at 3:45 Wednesday afternoon. Then we've got Adna St. George's. And I like Adna's odds in that one. We talked about it a little bit. That's cool. Then we've got Wahkiakum Tri-Cities Prep. Wahkiakum, are they a little low as a 12 seed?
I was surprised to see them as a 12. I think the districts kind of dinged them because they got upset by Toledo and then lost to Tootle and had to go the long way, top Toledo again, the 5th place game. I think that kind of dinged them, but I was a little surprised to see a 12 next to their name when it first came out.
And then Northwest Christian versus Chief Leshai. God, Northwest Christian Colbert has played in that gym so many times. And they've been there for so long, and they're only like 5 minutes away. So I kind of like them in that one. But anyway, the winner of NWC Chief Leshai gets Napavine Friday night. The Wahkiakum Tri-Cities Prep winner gets Colfax, the 3 seed. Columbia Burbank will play the Adna St. George's winner, and then Lake Roosevelt, defending state champs. Aren't they? They won it last year. Yeah, Tennessee Rainwater, I think. Anyway, they will play either Tenasket or Tudor Lake.
We're so close to all chalk. If Tenasket had lost to Coopville, we would have had the top 12 teams. But
yeah, I like that we've got the 1, 2, 3, 4 seeds in there. The committee got it right. Congratulations to them, whoever they may be. But yeah, this is a good looking bracket. And then
I'm excited to get out there and see all that.
Yeah, that'll be you and Kody are gonna have a great time. With Kody being like, yeah, I know a spot and taking you to Red Robin.
Red Tavern doubles are what, $8.99? I would not be opposed to Red Robin.
Sure. All right, the 1B boys bracket. Mosruk plays. We've been through this one. Other than
We
the
just hit all
Lummi
of them.
Nation, Welpin at the 2 seed, opposite side. This one is fairly chalk too, really. As chalk as you can get for a 20-team bracket.
Outside of the 15 and 16 made it through. Columbia Adventist made it through.
Well,
okay.
Look at that. Yeah, they beat 17 seed Mount Vernon Christian and then Tulalip Heritage. So,
all right.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have any strong thoughts on that one.
Kudos to them. I've looked at this
You were
bracket
not
and that
familiar
just
with
kind
their
of
game.
I was not. I didn't expect to see them here. But
and then the 1B girls, we've also got a chalk-esque bracket with the 1, 2, 3, and 4 seeds already in there. Mossy will have a shot at Nia Bay if they are to beat Wilbur Creston. And they're also on the same side of the bracket as Cross Point. So, I don't know. Any other bracket thoughts?
not necessarily bracket, but just from a tournament perspective. Just excited to get out there and see. Excited to get rolling. Excited they're only playing one game a day per team. No 3 games going on at the same time. I'm just thinking back to volleyball. How chaotic that was.
It's very different than volleyball.
So I'm excited.
This podcast is brought to you by AmeriCool Heating and Air Conditioning. Visit west.americool online to learn more. Your comfort is their business. They offer full-service HVAC installation services and repair with a 100% satisfaction guarantee on everything they do. If you are having an emergency in which you're either too hot or too cold, call 360-996-5806. And then that's all we got on the notes, except for travel plans for you guys. Zach, when are you heading across the mountains to Yakima?
Leaving tomorrow mid-afternoon, hopefully.
Mm-hmm. Have you checked the weather report?
No.
Have you checked the pass report from the WSDOT website?
Let's say we have not talked about that yet, but that is something we got to keep in mind too.
They are supposed to get some snow.
They are.
So just keep an eye on that.
All right, good to know.
And Dylan, what are you and Kody are flying over?
And Dylan Rubin King from the Nisqually Valley News will be helping us out over there as well. We're all flying out tomorrow. So
look at you, 3 fancy lads.
Yeah.
You flying out of SeaTac?
Yeah.
Neat.
Yeah. My gas guggler Trailblazer probably would have been more expensive to pay for the gas, honestly. But
yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'm sure. Are you guys all sharing one hotel room, or you all get your own rooms? It's gonna smell like ass in there. All right.
Well, we're gonna try our best to hang out at Red Robin as much as we can to get out of the room.
Are you and the other Dylan both 21?
Yeah,
you're gonna be.
He's
going
older.
To so many,
he's 25, I think.
You're gonna be going to so many bars to get away from Kody.
Just bring Kody like some cheese curds or something.
I think we're gonna wrap it up there. Good episode, guys. Zach, glad to have you here.
Glad to be here.
You're gonna do lovely things. I'm sure you're gonna enjoy Yakima so much that I'm sure you'll want to move there. You'll be like, wow, this is beautiful.
Probably not.
Palm Springs, Washington, baby.
That's what they say on the sign. Thanks for listening, and we'll be back next week to tell you what happened at state.
Picture closely, the ignorant mostly, blind, deaf, dumb, your mind left numb, lost soul, who failed to hear the roll of the drum, in the bottom of your bomb shelter, still felt